And the germ on the flea, on the flea, on the hair, and the hair on the wart, and the wart on the. Get it right, Pride!
Left, your left, left, right, your left, left, your left, left, right, your left. I said your left, right, or left.
And the germ on the flea, on the flea, on the hair, and the hair on the wart, and the wart on the. Get it right, Pride!
Left, your left, left, right, your left, left, your left, left, right, your left. I said your left, right, or left.
Are you ready, Prides?
Aye, Drill Sergeant.
I can't hear you.
Aye, Drill Sergeant.
Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
SpongeBob SquarePants.
Assorted yellow with orange tea.
Your mother's gonna die.
You're right.
Your father's gonna die.
You're right.
You are gonna die.
No.
Shut up.
Everywhere I go, there's a drill sergeant there.
There's a drill sergeant.
Everywhere I go.
Everywhere I go.
Well, watch me, watch me, nay, watch me, watch me, nay, on my left, now watch me, on my left, watch me, nay, watch me, watch me, nay.
Kill the enemy, take control. So early, so early, so early in the morning. Apache gunships in the sky.
Apache gunships in the sky.
It's the Ranger flying high.
The Rangers flying high.
Kill the enemy, watch him die.
Kill the enemy, watch him die.
So early, so early, so early in the morning.
Pew, 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 pew.
I wonder what he's doing now.
What are you doing now?
I wonder
I wonder
what he's doing now.
what are you doing now?
As I work
As I work
all day,
all day,
it's not my fault.
it's not my fault.
It's late.
It's late.
And he just wants to screw that.
The Tomb of the Unknown Soldier is one of the most continuously guarded monuments in the world. It's patrolled 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, regardless of the weather, by an elite regiment of soldiers known as Sentinels. These Sentinels are highly trained specialists in superb physical condition, ready at a moment's notice to defend the honor of fallen war heroes. So what makes the old guard of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier so feared and respected? And what happens when people push the boundaries and try to mess with one of the guards? Let's find out. The Old Guard is essentially ceremonial special forces, and despite their seemingly mundane job, they represent the very best of the best the Army can offer. It's so elite that less than 20% of all volunteers are accepted for training, and of those, only a fraction pass training to become fully fledged Tomb Guards. In fact, the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier Guard Identification Badge is the third least awarded badge in the entire United States Army, behind military horseman ID badges and astronaut badges. To become a Tomb Guard, an Old Guard soldier must volunteer by applying for appointment to the tomb through the Sergeant of the Guard. To be considered for an appointment, the soldier must be highly motivated and disciplined, and possess a strong military bearing and soldierly appearance. If appointed, the soldier is assigned to the tomb for an initial 2-week training period. Upon reporting to a relief, the trainee is assigned a Tomb Guard trainer. The trainer informs the trainee of what is expected of them, including following strict rules, training guidelines, and the need for complete dedication and commitment to the tomb. The training cycle is intense, consisting of a series of 5 exhaustive
I will. Later.
tests over 6 to 12 months. These tests focus on ceremonial performance, uniform preparation, and knowledge. If the trainee completes the training cycle and passes the tests, they are able to flawlessly conduct 7 different types of ceremonies, meet the highest standards of uniform preparation, and cite 35 pages of information without error. If the trainee fails any test, they are assigned back to their company. The successful trainee is awarded the Tomb Guard Identification Badge and will be from then on referred to as a Tomb Guard or badge holder by their fellow Sentinels. Demonstrating how serious a role this is considered to be, the Tomb Guard Identification Badge is the only military badge that can be revoked for any action that brings disrespect to the tomb. The Unknown Soldier. On the 11th of November 1921, the remains of an unknown American soldier were returned from the battlefields of France. Unidentified remains weren't uncommon during World War I, and without DNA profiling or reliable ways to match the list of missing soldiers with the discovered corpses, many bodies were simply marked as unknown. For this reason, the U.S. government approved the construction of a memorial in the Arlington National Cemetery in Virginia, United States. This would be the final resting place of the returned unknown soldier, and would serve as a monument to all deceased military personnel who were either lost or the remains never identified. The remains of the unknown soldier were interred beneath a 3-level white marble tomb covered in a stone slab. Intricate carvings decorate the sides, including wreaths and figures representing peace, victory, and valor. The rear of the sarcophagus includes an inscription which reads, "Here rests in honored glory an American soldier known but to God." Why you shouldn't mess with a tomb guard. While the role of the sentinel is mostly ceremonial, there are some things you just don't do when visiting the tomb of the unknown soldier. The old guards will appear strong and silent, that is, until you break one of their rules. Cross over the barrier into the plaza and you'll probably hear this.
It is requested that all visitors remain behind the changing grounds at all times. Remain behind the changing grounds. Behind the changing grounds.
Respect and silence is required at all times. If you're being loud, rude, and obnoxious, you'll likely get this response.
Remain standing for this ceremony. It is requested that everyone maintains a level of silence and respect. It is requested that everyone maintain an atmosphere of silence and respect at all times.
These sentinels are very similar to the Queen's Guard at Buckingham Palace. However, they aren't trained to remain still at all times. Get too close and the sentinels will gladly point their M14 rifle straight at you. They aren't messing about. Day in the life of a tomb guard. The old guard is made up of 3 tomb squads or reliefs, numbered 1st through to 3rd. Unlike traditional army units, tomb reliefs are organized based on height, so that the tomb guards are similar in size during the changing of the guard. The 3 reliefs are on duty utilizing 24-hour rotating shifts. A tomb guard's day begins at 5 a.m., with arrival at the tomb quarters 1 for duty. The tomb guards will inspect the quarters, prepare their uniforms, review orders, and receive their duty assignments for the coming day. At 6:30 a.m., the tomb guards inspect the trainee's readiness and uniforms. If a trainee meets relevant standards, the tomb guard may allow them to walk the first morning guard change known as bolo at 7 a.m. The evening bolo will be the final change and walk of the day. During the hours of the day, the Arlington National Cemetery is open to visitors. The tomb guards will perform several changing of the guard and wreath-laying ceremonies and walking the mat. During summer hours, the changing of the guard ceremony takes place every half hour, and during winter hours, every hour. Although all walks are important, the most coveted walk for a tomb guard is the midday noon moon walk. During the same time, the trainees perform mirror time, conduct uniform preparation, study knowledge, check in wreaths, and alert the tomb guards of the next changing of the guard.
10 minutes. 10 minutes.
While guarding the tomb, sentinels do not display rank insignia. This is done so as not to outrank the unknown soldier, whatever their rank may have been. The tomb is guarded 24 hours a day and 365 days a year. So after the evening bolo, no ceremonial changes and walks in battle dress uniforms are performed until the next morning's bolo. Guarding the tomb. In March 1926, the U.S. decided to post a permanent guard over the tomb of the unknown soldier. Soldiers from the nearby Fort Myers, members of the 3rd Cavalry Regiment, nicknamed the Brave Rifles, were first assigned to guard the tomb. At first, they were enlisted only during daylight hours and served just to discourage visitors to climb on or disrespect the monument. By 1937, guarding the tomb became a round-the-clock job, and on April 6, 1948, the 3rd U.S. Infantry Regiment, known as the Old Guard, was designated as the Army's official ceremonial unit, tasked with guarding the tomb of the unknown soldier. Old Guard myths. The Tomb Guard Sentinels have a bit of an intimidating reputation, and it's all thanks to some pretty fantastic urban myths that have surrounded the Old Guard for decades. Fortunately, we're here to separate fact from fiction. According to one urban legend, Sentinels live for 2 years in a barracks under the tomb and are not allowed to swear, watch television, or drink alcohol for the rest of their lives. Fortunately, this is completely false, and members of the Old Guard are allowed to indulge in the occasional off-duty vice. And finally, it was once rumored that during Hurricane Isabel in 2003, the Tomb Sentinels refused orders to abandon their post, despite the inclement weather, and perished in the storm. While it's a cool story, it's also bogus. While the tomb requires 24/7 guarding, contingencies are in place in case of lightning, high winds, or torrential conditions. What do you think of the guards? Let us know in the comments below. Leave a
Security is important to everyone, but when you're among the most powerful figures on Earth, no expense can be spared to ensure you're locked down as much as possible. While celebrities hire bodyguards to fend off paparazzi, their details don't hold up to the extreme ends world leaders will go to in order to keep people far more threatening than some hassling photographers away. Ready to meet the most protected presidents in the world? Let's get it on. Kim Jong-un. Being the supreme leader of North Korea isn't an easy gig. With his father and grandfather having both regularly dealt with assassination attempts, North Korean security has no choice but to rank among the best worldwide. While most world leaders tend to have motorcades escorted by legions of motorcycles and cars, Kim instead has a somewhat strange-looking battalion of men jog alongside his limousine. Taking it literally a step further, they surround Kim as he walks. The guards aren't volunteers, instead being chosen from the population based on being men of identical height with an appearance close enough to the supreme leader to confuse any would-be snipers. So they're more human shields than just bodyguards. Still, these men are given the most extensive training possible, and only the best performing ones, who also prove to be devoutly loyal to the Kim family, are selected for Kim's personal escort. The total service force numbers more than 2,000, working different shifts. Kim's also known to travel alongside multiple decoy planes when flying, making it impossible to know which plane the supreme leader's really on board. Sounds a little overboard, but he definitely thinks it's necessary. Narendra Modi. India is a rapidly expanding country with over 1 billion citizens, making their Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, the important leader of more than 1/7 of the world's population, and thus a man in need of round-the-clock protection. Modi is kept safe by the Special Protection Group, basically the Indian Secret Service, an elite group of officers handpicked from India's police and railway protection forces, 3,000 strong. The annual cost of these machine gun-wielding men in black suits that keep a watchful eye over Modi everywhere he goes is upwards of $83 million. That's a whole lot to be spending on guards, but when you're the leader of the second most populous country on the planet, no expense should be spared. Modi is regularly preceded by motorcades of dozens of bulletproof BMWs, Range Rovers, and Mercedes, cars that you don't often see driving around India, as well as kept under close watch by helicopters and surveillance drones to maintain an eye in the sky over the Prime Minister. The SPG often walk alongside the car carrying the Prime Minister and clear the area surrounding him anytime he goes anywhere. Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Turkey's the bridge between the two incredibly powerful continents of Europe and Asia. With a position like that, it wouldn't be surprising to learn that Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan holds power many wish to take from him by any means necessary. Knowing this, Erdogan's personal protection is of utmost importance, and he's never seen publicly without a massive detail of heavily armed bodyguards. To ensure maximum protection alongside public visibility, rather than the traditional presidential limousine, Erdogan often drives through Istanbul inside a heavily armored bus, waving to citizens behind a massive bulletproof glass pane able to deflect even machine gun fire. What's most impressive about this unique mode of travel is that there aren't just guards inside and around it, but also standing atop it armed with machine guns. Erdogan's security was in full effect in 2016 during an attempted military coup where tanks fired on the Capitol building. Erdogan spoke in front of the Capitol, confidently addressing the people while full military guards surrounded him. While thousands were injured in the attempted takeover, Erdogan himself was completely untouched. Queen Elizabeth, the longest reigning monarch in history, hasn't made it this far by slacking on security. While the Queen herself might not have much true power over the UK anymore, that hasn't had any effect on just how powerful her seriously souped up security detail is. Having to be a popular figurehead, the Queen must make frequent appearances and have near constant contact with the public, even at the age of 95. So you can imagine that everywhere she goes, security is a major concern. Queen Elizabeth's royal motorcades are composed of England's most talented and deadly soldiers and officers who make up the Royal Guard. While the guards who stand outside Buckingham Palace are famous for not moving no matter what, when it comes to protecting the Queen, these elite guards are anything but stagnant. The reality is, they've taken a vow of silence while working, only broken on rare occasions when aggressive tourists get too close. The royal guards are so well trained that they don't take any breaks, not even bathroom breaks. They're even trained to not break their stance if they faint, as sometimes happens on hot days under their heavy uniforms and 9-pound bearskin hats, in order to show their dedication to the Queen. If nothing else, the sheer length of the Queen's rule should demonstrate how well protected she is and always has been. Shinzo Abe. Shinzo Abe served as Japan's longest-running prime minister due to his widespread popularity, but that doesn't mean that his security can be lax. After all, even in countries as safe as Japan, there's always people looking to harm those in power. As Japan's cities are known to be incredibly compact, Abe can't exactly have a full motorcade of armored SUVs and motorcycles surrounding his limousine. So, much like his neighbor to the west, his Secret Service guards are known to jog right alongside his limo when going through tight city streets. Of course, Japan isn't all a cramped city, and even the fittest Olympians couldn't be expected to run alongside a limousine on a freeway. However, rather than shutting down bustling highways for the Prime Minister's procession, his Secret Service agents politely lean out the window of moving cars and wave respectfully at oncoming traffic to stop and allow Japan's leader to pass. A country famous for its hyper-efficient public transit, even Japan's own Prime Minister flows smoothly through the country's infrastructure without making people be late to work on his account. What a nice guy. Donald Trump. The President of the United States is known as the leader of the free world, and that's no accident. The U.S. is arguably the most powerful and wealthiest country in the world, being a global leader in technology and military strength. Thus, President Donald Trump has the most modern, effective, and powerful personal security detail on the planet. The Secret Service is famous for their black suits, sunglasses, and earpieces. And that isn't just Hollywood nonsense. Being the President of the United States is the deadliest job in the world, with an 18.6% fatality rate and an almost 10% assassination rate. Even before Trump was the president, he was a celebrity and billionaire with considerably high security needs. The Trump family's protection reportedly cost New York City officials over $1 million every day. That's not including Trump's personal bodyguards, of which he would only select the highest-ranking Navy SEALs and other elite ex-military members. Clearly, that standard has only gone up with his boost in status. At his inauguration, a caravan of armored trucks overflowing with Secret Service paraded around the president as far as the eye could see, with a full-on procession of hundreds of Secret Service agents walking right alongside the vehicles. I guess it costs a lot to have your mind at rest. Vladimir Putin. If there's one thing that Russia is famous for, it's their secret... Welcome to the Fourth Industrial Revolution.
Then the germ on the flea, on the flea, on the hair, and the hair on the war, and the war on the... Get it right, part!
Left, your left, left, right, your left, left, your left, left, right, your left. I said your left, right, or left.
Are you ready, parts?
Aye, Drill Sergeant.
I can't hear you.
Aye, Drill Sergeant.
Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
SpongeBob SquarePants.
Assorted yellow with horse teeth.
Your mother's gonna die. You're right. Your father's gonna die. You're right. You are gonna die. No. Shut up.
Everywhere I go, there's a drill sergeant.
158. Keep going, Dad. Tell you to stop.
This is Coast Guard Boot Camp. Before they get to serve in the United States Coast Guard, all recruits have to graduate from the Coast Guard's 8-week basic training program.
It's not easy. There's a reason the program is designed the way it is. We have people from all walks of life that come here. It is a small portion of the youth of this nation that are at least attempting to raise their hand and do something bigger than themselves.
Basic training happens here at United States Coast Guard Training Center Cape May, located at the southernmost point of New Jersey. But before they get to Cape May, all incoming recruits report to the USO Lounge at the Philadelphia airport. It's where they spend their final moments before beginning their journeys as Coast Guardsmen.
Why am I doing this? I don't know. It sounded like a good opportunity. My grandfather was in the Coast Guard.
My mom's whole side of the family was in the Navy, but I didn't really feel like the Navy was my calling, and the Coast Guard felt right.
I don't have a ton of money, man. I don't come from money, so I couldn't really afford school. So this kind of seemed like my only option to do this without accruing a large amount of debt. So
I'm most nervous about, honestly, just the yelling. Something you just don't get used to as a day-to-day life as a civilian, so.
This is the last non-stressful meeting you're going to have for the next several weeks. It's a learning experience. Their teaching methods are just a tad different than what you're used to. They're going to walk into a world that's very different for them. It's going to be very intense, so that when they go out into the fleet, stations, and cutters, that they're ready to help and ready to perform.
The incoming recruits enjoy what little downtime they have left.
Get out of the hallway, let's go!
Before they line up and head to the bus that will drive them to Cape May.
Okay, Coast Guard, tough 8 weeks ahead of you. What's the motto of the Coast Guard? Semper Paratus. I can't hear you! Semper Paratus! All right.
The motto of the Coast Guard is Semper Paratus. It means always ready. These new recruits have about 2 hours to get ready for what happens the second their bus ride is over.
Obviously, there's a shock and awe factor to it. Kind of everything goes haywire for a little bit. While we do need to instill that little bit of emergency in them that evening, the main goal is get them in the building and get them processed and get the paperwork where it needs to go and get them in the rack.
do it now. Aye, aye.
The first incarnation of the Coast Guard was born in 1790. Secretary of the Treasury Alexander Hamilton lobbied Congress to construct a fleet of 10 large ships, or cutters, intended to enforce tariffs on vessels entering U.S. ports. In 1915, the U.S. Revenue Cutter Service merged with the U.S. Life Saving Service to form what we know today as the United States Coast Guard. Since then, the Coast Guard has been involved in every major United States military conflict. Today, the Coast Guard has more than 40,000 men and women on active duty, and over 30,000 more serving in reserve and auxiliary capacities. And it all begins here. On a cold week in November, we spent 4 days at Training Center Cape May, allowing us to observe different companies at various stages of the 8-week boot camp.
Boot camp itself, it is whatever you make it. You do what you're told, yes sir, no sir, aye sir, and it's as simple as that.
First, the new recruits are issued uniforms.
Next in line. Go this way.
And after a medical exam and standard vaccinations, the male recruits get a free haircut. Then, it's time for the initial physical fitness assessment, where the recruits have to do as many push-ups and sit-ups as they can in 1 minute. Finally, there's a 1.5 mile run. Male recruits have 14 minutes to finish the run. Female recruits have 17 minutes. Not every recruit passes on their first try, but they do get another chance.
You have 5 minutes to finish this test. Most of you should finish in less than 3 minutes.
All Coast Guard recruits have to pass a 3-part swimming test.
Go ahead, step to the edge.
First, jumping into the pool from a 6-foot platform.
Step off.
Then, a 100-meter swim. And last, they have to tread water for 5 minutes. Coast Guard recruits don't have to be expert swimmers. Remedial swimmers are allowed to wear flotation devices. After all of this physical exertion, the recruits have undoubtedly worked up an appetite, which means it's time for lunch. Or as it's known at Cape May, chow. But chow isn't a time for relaxation or chatting with your fellow recruits.
What is it?
In fact, it's the complete opposite.
Let's go. Move your feet. How about you move a little faster, man? No, get out. That's not where you sit. That's not where you sit. You have someone right there telling you where to go.
This should be one of the most relaxing times they have, you would think, but that is when all eyes are on them.
You're not special, and you didn't shave last night like we told you. A razor never touched your face. As soon as you get back from medical, I am taking you in there and ensuring that you shave.
You probably think that you get a little break from the company commanders, but when you go to your seats, the company commanders are staring you down and they're asking you questions.
Tell me about a Class Bravo fire. Who was Alex Haley? Tell me about Commodore Bertov.
Before they can eat, recruits are randomly stopped by company commanders and tested on required Coast Guard knowledge.
Go away, Davis.
Recruits who answer correctly are allowed to pass and eat their meals.
Carry on. Tell me about Douglas Monroe. It's not on the deck. Start writing. Aye, Betty Elsa Greenwell. Start writing. Start writing. Start writing.
Those who fail to answer correctly are ordered to document their mistakes on a performance tracker, which is collected and reviewed every day by their company commanders.
It just goes to show you that there is no downtime in basic training. It's a sense of urgency in everything we do.
Sign the company out of the galley.
And it really all at the end of the day is there to assist the recruits and keep them sharp.
Carry on.
You don't respond to carry on.